It was an ordinary morning, and I was on my way to school when suddenly, I felt someone push me to the ground. Before I could react, I was handcuffed. For a split second, I thought it might be a playful prank by my crush. I'd been trying to get his attention for weeks, but the reality was far worse. A car screeched to a halt nearby, and I heard frantic voices shouting, "Get the door open, hurry!" I screamed for help, but no one was around. The man who grabbed me was too strong, and I couldn't break free. He dragged me into a van, slammed the door shut, and drove off. I was claustrophobic, and the panic overwhelmed me. The last thing I remembered was passing out. When I woke up, I had the worst headache of my life. I found myself in a small, dusty room lying on an old bed. Confused and scared, the events of the morning rushed back to me. I screamed and banged on the door, demanding to be let out. That's when I overheard voices outside. "She's not the one, you idiot." I said, "Blonde. This one has brown hair." They were talking about me. My heart raced as I realized I wasn't their intended target. The door creaked open, and a young man stepped in. He was ridiculously handsome, but his expression was sheepish. "Listen," he began, "I'm really sorry. This was just a game. We were planning to fake kidnap a blonde girl as a prank, but my friend grabbed you by mistake." I was furious. "A game? You almost gave me a heart attack. I'm calling the police." The guy panicked, his face turning pale. "Please don't. We didn't mean to hurt you. It was stupid. Please don't report us." Seeing his genuine remorse, I decided to let it go. I grabbed my bag and walked out, vowing to forget the whole thing. A week later, I ran into him again. He was working at a fast food restaurant that had just opened in my area. When he saw me, he smiled nervously and said, "Here comes the strongest girl I know." I couldn't help but laugh. Before I left, he slipped me a note with his number, asking if I'd like to go out sometime. At first, I hesitated, but I couldn't deny he was charming. I texted him, and we met for coffee the next day. His name was Nolan, and he was everything a girl could dream of: kind, funny, and attentive. Soon, we started dating. Things were great until Nolan visited my house for the first time. My father was wealthy, and our home was more like a mansion. Nolan seemed overwhelmed. "Wow, you're really rich," he muttered, looking around in awe. I tried to downplay it, saying, "It's just my dad, not me." But it didn't help. Over time, his insecurity grew. Every time he bought me something, he'd say, "You've probably had better." His comments became increasingly annoying. Finally, I confronted him. "Why do you keep saying things like that? I like you for who you are, not for what you buy me." But he didn't believe me. "I'm just another trophy for you to brag about," he said bitterly. Hurt and frustrated, I yelled, "If that's how you feel, maybe we shouldn't date at all." To my shock, he simply said, "Fine," and walked away. I was heartbroken. I thought we had something special, but apparently, I was wrong. 2 weeks later, I spotted him having dinner with Tamar, a girl I knew from middle school. Tamar was rich, spoiled, and always made everything about herself. I had distanced myself from her because of her constant drama. Curious, I messaged her on Instagram, asking how she met Nolan. Her reply shocked me. "He accidentally kidnapped me during a prank, and we hit it off afterward." Why? Jealous. It hit me. Was this Nolan's trick for meeting girls? Tamar dismissed my warnings, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Not long after, my dad mentioned his prized Rolex watch was missing. My mom had gifted it to him before she passed away, so it was incredibly sentimental. I searched everywhere but couldn't find it. A nagging suspicion crept into my mind. During his visits, Nolan had excused himself to use the bathroom multiple times. Could he have taken it? To confirm my doubts, I messaged Tamar again, asking if she'd lost anything valuable. She reluctantly admitted that one of her diamond rings had gone missing. That was all the confirmation I needed. Together, Tamar and I hatched a plan to expose Nolan. During their next dinner date, Tamar pretended to leave her golden bracelet in her bag. I sat nearby, camera ready, waiting for Nolan to make a move. But he didn't take the bait. Frustrated, we thought we had failed. Later that night, Tamar went live on Instagram. From upstairs, she secretly filmed Nolan downstairs, pocketing a wooden antique from her house. Comments flooded in, with other girls claiming Nolan had dated them and stolen from them too. I immediately called the police. Nolan was arrested, and during the investigation, all the stolen items were recovered, including my dad's Rolex. Nolan and his friends, who helped with the fake kidnappings, were sentenced to 3 years in jail. After everything was over, I tried to thank Tamar for her help. But she responded coldly, "Don't thank me, loser. Just stay out of trouble, you stupid girl." Some people never change. What do you think of my story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to like and follow to the channel.